After a string of very violent acts involving kids, many of you are asking, what's going on with all that? In the past 5 days, we've had 4 young people killed by violence, either stabbing or shooting, perpetrated by another young person. It's really unsettling. So that's why we wanted to bring in a clinician to help us get some perspective on this, maybe some information where we can help. This is Jim Bottenhorn. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Some of the stories recently just so disturbing, having to do with the ages of the kids involved with some of these violent crimes. What do you think are some of the factors that lead to this violence?
Well, we know that some of the risk factors are drug and alcohol use, tobacco use, poor family functioning, poor grades, associating with delinquent peers.
Peers, so you have people that have had past that maybe...
Poverty in the community. I mean, those are all risk factors according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control.
What do you think are some of the anger red flags that a young person might be going through? If they seem to get upset about something, they need to learn how to identify what they're feeling, don't they?
Yeah, I always, in teaching my classes on anger management, I start with, we have to know what our anger looks like. We have to get to know it. So the red flags are, feeling hot, muscle tension, close clenched jaws and fists, getting quiet sometimes, pacing, raising our voice, some of those things, but also some of those factors within us, but also knowing what those situations are out there that have been problematic for us. A certain person or situation that we can either learn to avoid or learn to develop some coping skills to manage our anger when it starts coming up.
So identify those feelings and come up with some coping mechanisms.
Right.
How do we educate our youth about how to deal with their anger and conflict without violence?
Yes. Well, I think we're really fortunate in this community to have organizations such as the Mental Health Foundation that has, they've developed a couple of really good programs, the Live, Laugh, and Love program and also the Be Nice program.
Yes.
Which address the bullying, but also I think teach some relational skills to our youth. So I think those are really good steps.
Sure. A lot of people getting involved in that too, in schools adopting those programs. It's nice to see. What do you think the difference is between anger and aggression?
Well, I try to teach that anger is a normal human emotion, and it's normal to have that emotion when someone hurts you or takes advantage of you. It's normal to have that feeling well up in you, but it doesn't mean that you have to be aggressive. And so understanding, people who've had problems with anger control tend to connect those two. Like, when I feel anger, that's bad. But actually, it doesn't have to be. You can allow the feeling and manage that behavior. And so that's kind of what is part of that class.
So what's key to that whole thing is that if you're feeling anger, it's not necessarily bad to identify what the child is feeling, and then when those feelings come up, they cope with it in a positive way, certainly not violence.
Sure, in a positive way, and then also learning how to communicate those negative feelings or those strong emotions in a way that's productive versus those two extremes of either stuffing it or blowing up. So,
right. Okay. Well, we thank you so much for joining us tonight. Of course, angermanagementgr.com has a lot of answers, and you, of course, have a class and a session that you teach about that. We certainly appreciate your time, Jim. Thank you.